Welcome back.
Welcome
to Umineko.
How you doing? We're gonna slow it down this episode with the sad music. We're gonna be chill boys.
I don't think there's anything that can slow down the hype train at this point.
You know what? I think the sad music could do it.
This is so great. I'm having so much fun.
I'm glad you are. Well,
last time, Burncastle, I think, showed Will that he was about to get his king captured or something.
Yeah, he was about to make some kind of game-losing move by putting Shannon and Cannon in a room together. Shocker.
Shocking.
I do wonder what it's like for someone who hasn't been trying to actively solve the mystery at this point in the game.
It would be quite interesting.
It would be. Well, I've brought Willard's son.
I can't get this straight face.
What are you doing?
No, don't worry, move on.
We're moving on. I was trying to make us move on and then you laughed.
I'm sorry.
I've brought Willard's son, I said. Kinzo and Genji could be seen in the VIP room. Kinzo was sitting back in a chair, his eyes closed as though in a troubled sleep. Master, the guest has come to see you. Kinzo slowly opened his eyes. Those eyes were red from crying. They regained their focus and slowly fell on Will.
I am Ashiramiya Kinzo.
Will?
I'm Willard. Allow me to express my condolences. So, you came here to attend Beatrice's funeral. Just who are you? I'm no one. I have no connections with anyone. Don't think too deeply about it. You just get a headache.
I ask that you choose your words a little more carefully. Smile.
What a strange guest. So, what business do you have with me? I want to ask about Beatrice. What?
Kinzo's gaze grew sharp. Leon felt a bit lightheaded and wondered why this guy had to be so direct.
Why do you ask? You're no one, aren't you? Why do you want to know about Beatrice? What is your purpose? Because I'm no one. I can listen to your tale impartially and record it. You'll probably leave this world before too long. If you die without telling anyone anything about Beatrice, the children will adorn Beatrice with whatever tale they please, writing that into their memories. You entertain me, boy. You plan on writing my will for me. But that is none of your business. Beatrice is mine alone. No matter what other people say, no one can defile our tale. What they say is of no consequence. No matter how crass and the others will misconstrue it, it will be neither painful nor vexing to me.
Willard-sama, the master is not fond of wills. Thank you. He is not the sort of man who would abandon a task so that it might be performed after his life ends.
I love that just would not have been a joke
in Japanese? No, not at all. Not at all. I wonder who put it there.
Probably true. I thought it sounded a bit unlike you. The ability to struggle on as long as we have life is what makes us human. Think I would give up so soon and leave behind a will? How laughably absurd.
Please don't leave me behind.
It does sound a bit more like you. It's not your style to ask someone to write about the past just because you think your death is drawing near.
We know how deeply you love Beatrice-sama. You are the model most worthy of respect that any of us know, and an example for us to follow in every aspect of our lives. Please guide our wandering souls and tell us just how much you loved her, grandfather. How you were able to live through everything you faced because of her love. I only ask you to guide us by showing us that love's strength.
You're pretty good at this.
It's your fault for being so tactless.
Boy, what do you know of Beatrice? Truly ignorant person wouldn't even be interested in learning more. The mere fact you know Beatrice's name shows you are neither ignorant nor unconnected. Good point. The Beatrice I know of is the woman you loved, the one you met before the mansion under Kenjima was even built. However, she probably departed from this world, leaving behind a daughter. And that's the girl who was raised in Kuadorian.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Willard-sama. That's fucking ridiculous, I swear. There is no building known as Kuadorian on Kenjima. That name, Kuadorian. You mentioned it when you were talking about with Aunt Rosa, too. What in the world does it mean?
What does it mean?
I don't want to go over it.
Is this Kinzo?
This would be Willard.
Yeah. Should have an idea by now. It's the name of the hidden mansion deep in the forest where his mistress's daughter lived.
Interesting. So, ooh.
Interesting.
Yep.
So you actually know the name of Kuadorian. Continue, you've sparked my interest.
Yep. Kinzo shrugged and grinned. Half a point?
Nah.
We caught it.
One living in Kuadorian was probably Beatrice's daughter, however, it seems that you at least didn't think of her that way. Uh-huh. And how did I think of her? When the Shirami Rosa went to Kuadorian, Beatrice told her a little about herself. In that conversation, she referred to you as Kinzo. It was the same as when she spoke to you directly. Though she said that she thought of you as a father, she didn't call you father. She either chose not to call you that, or she wasn't allowed to call you that. That can only mean one thing. Only one. And what might that be? Reincarnation. You didn't think of your daughter as a child Beatrice left behind. You believed that the dead Beatrice had revived into a new body. Genji, once in the past you spoke in front of Natsui and several other family members, stating that there never was a child between Kinzo and Beatrice.
I have no memory of saying this. Of course, this game's Genji probably wouldn't remember that. However, at the end of the first game, when the survivors had all gathered in Kinzo's study, Genji was asked whether Kinzo and Beatrice ever had a child together, and he denied it, saying, "I have not heard of anything like that."
It may have been a lie, but in a way it was a model answer for one of Kinzo's confidence. After all, in Kinzo's eyes, she wasn't a daughter, but Beatrice reborn.
Will, I don't know what you're talking about, but I will not let you slander the family head.
This isn't slander, it's reasoning. However, I understand the heart. In your eyes, Beatrice was the woman you love most. She remained that way even after death for all eternity, without fading in the slightest. Doubt you thought of her as Beatrice reborn at the moment of her birth. However, it wouldn't be strange if you slowly began to wonder whether that child, whose blue eyes and beautiful blonde hair reminded you of a younger Beatrice, might actually be Beatrice reborn.
Master, shall I drag this rude child out? Genji asked Kinzo. For a while, Kinzo hung his head in silence as though remembering something from his own past.
Your daughter grew to be beautiful and nearly identical to her mother. You must have been ecstatic. However, I doubt you'd be completely satisfied by that alone. After all, though she was Beatrice reborn to you, she didn't think of herself that way.
How can you know that?
Whenever she was called Beatrice, she got this feeling she couldn't shake away. Feeling like something was out of place. People never feel anything out of place about the name they're given at the time of their birth. However, she did have that feeling. That must mean she was aware that the name Beatrice wasn't hers. In Kuadorian, she asked both Kinzo and Rosa about who she was. Who am I? Everyone calls me Beatrice. And that does indeed seem to be the name of a great witch, as you say. But that isn't me. I cannot use any magic. Simply have the soul of that witch sealed inside my body, she said. Her memory would have returned eventually. She must truly have been Beatrice. Oh, Kinzo.
Yep.
Her memory would have returned eventually.
1 point.
She must truly have been Beatrice reborn. Her memory was coming back bit by bit. My magical ceremonies were helping her regain her memories one little bit at a time.
Head-sama.
That sounds so fucked up. My little magical ceremonies.
So, yeah, magic.
There's no need to be surprised. If you line up the information in all the games so far, this is the obvious answer you get. The high-level Beatrice talked about this. By the metaphor, she said Kinzo refused to let the witch's soul escape even after death, and instead caught it and locked it up in a body of flesh. She also said that her power and memory had been sealed. If you match that interpretation of hers to this theory, it all makes sense.
Willard-sama. Thanks to powerful magical ceremonies, the master gained a reborn child of the dead Beatrice-sama. That cannot be denied.
I won't deny the stork, and I don't intend to doubt the depths of Kinzo's love for this woman called Beatrice. How a man shows his affection for a child who's the only living reminder of her mother is no one's business. She grew to look more and more like Beatrice, and Kinzo's love gave rise to a new special emotion. I find that a very human reaction.
You think you can understand my love?
Not qualified to understand it, however I'm not qualified to deny it.
Oh, Beatrice, please forgive me.
Kinzo sobbed quietly for a while, wiping away his tears. Because of love, he believed she was Beatrice reborn, and raised her that way. However, somewhere in his heart, he might have felt pangs of conscience, telling him that he might be forcing his emotions on someone who wasn't really Beatrice. Then, the Beatrice of Kuadorian had an unexpected guest, Rosa. That woman simply couldn't believe that she was the Beatrice Kinzo desired. She couldn't stand the fact that she didn't understand who she was. She wanted to escape to the outside world.
It's like, on the one hand, as we've covered a few times, it's like, it's kind of satisfying to be told you're kind of right, but then also like, this is so fucked up.
I know. It's fucked up entirely. Then, she fell from the cliff and died.
Genji handled that death, which couldn't become public knowledge, very quietly. Funerals aren't for the dead, they exist so that those who are alive can sever their ties with the dead. You could never do that. That's why it festered within you. Beatrice!
Grandfather.
You lost your mistress's daughter. No, you lost Beatrice twice. Unable to let that sorrow show on the outside, you kept it locked up in your heart. And it eventually festered and turned to madness. That's what spurred on your abnormally strong interest in the occult in your later years. Oh, Beatrice, Beatrice. Why? Why did you leave me twice? Your smile, that beautiful hair, those eyes. Why did you die in my arms, not once, but twice? Is that how much you...
By now, Kinzo wasn't even trying to suppress his sobs. He sometimes scratched his head in anguish, sometimes faced the heavens like an opera singer. Kinzo yelled over and over again, repeating Beatrice's name. At that moment, there was a quiet sound of a door closing. When they turned around, she was already there. Kumasawa had appeared. If they already know that much, perhaps we can tell them the rest. Though, if they know that much, I don't believe there is anything more to tell. No, we should tell them. As a woman, I've always thought that the heart of Corridor's Beatrice is a story that should be told. And now, someone has appeared who is worthy to hear it. I believe that now is the time to tell all, without holding back. Kumasawa-san, do you know something about Beatrice?
Of course she does. In the fourth game, we have testimony from the ferryboat captain saying that Kumasawa went in and out of Kuadorian.
Here we go.
I'd be willing to bet that Kumasawa had different work shifts at the mansion and Kuadorian. As a young girl to be taken care of. Kumasawa, with a long experience in taking care of children, must have been of immense value.
That is correct. You might even call me her wet nurse. No way. I can't believe it. So, everything Will-san is saying is the truth? Yes, it is a fact. A secret mansion was constructed on the opposite side of the island for Beatrice-sama. Corridorian's existence is truth.
Don't know when Kinzo married his official wife, because she's the most irrelevant character ever.
Yup.
But at that time, he already had an enormous store of wealth and had bought Rikenjima whole. He then built 2 mansions and set up 2 separate lives.
Kinzo's children had also been aware of Kinzo's clandestine eccentricities at the time. He probably hadn't been easy to maintain 2 separate lives. Moreover, Kinzo's wife had been suspicious and had sniffed around all the time. The master stayed in Corridorian as much as time allowed. He would sometimes pretend to go on a business trip and stay there for several days, treasuring the time he spent with Beatrice-sama. It was not a father-daughter relationship. You could sometimes catch a glimpse of his great love for the dead Beatrice-sama, and it was a heartwarming thing.
The way you say it makes it sound like he sometimes treated her as a substitute for the dead Beatrice.
If it sounded that way, my apologies. Beatrice-sama probably accepted her father's love. However, I would not deny that she was sometimes forced to bear love she didn't understand.
It's just so...
It was a beautiful thing to see the love between the two people. Kumasawa's tone made it sound as though she was scolding Kinzo.
It's like Kumasawa's like almost trying to repress the thought herself, it seems.
Yeah. As a mother who had raised many kids, Kumasawa probably spotted that Kinzo's love was sometimes misplaced. However, the more she grew to look like her mother, the more distorted and twisted Kinzo's heart became. Because of his deep love, it grew very, very twisted.
You're right to scold me, my friend. I understand. My love is eternal and undying. However, I must acknowledge that I poured that affection onto the wrong person.
Grandfather, wait, you don't mean...
Leon-sama, all humans in this world are tied to each other. Even if they do not notice, there is always some sort of tie. Those ties wrap themselves around people and bring them together.
No way. Grandfather. Just as Kinzo had done, Leon also wiped away tears and stared down at the floor. Apparently, the truth had been too much of a shock for the young successor to handle.
Master, the time to speak has arrived, has it not?
I see. So that time has come, my friend. Unless you tell us, none of the truth will become clear.
Master, I believe they may have the qualifications and the right to know.
I checked at the door as they came in. I know. Perhaps on this day of my fickle funeral, Beatrice in heaven has given me a chance to atone. Forgive me for not telling you this before now.
After taking a deep breath, Kinzo finally lowered the hands that had been covering his face and looked at Will and Leon with those red eyes. Grandfather.
You listen too, Leon. Guessed Willard wasn't. Yeah. I thank you for giving me a chance to speak of the truth while I'm still able. You must surely be a messenger from heaven sent by Beatrice. You have my gratitude. Beatrice isn't the only one you have to thank. It was just a witch. Well, I guess they're both witches. I do not care who it was. I have been given a chance. That is enough. Thank you, Willard.
Kinzo slowly stood up and held out his right hand. He was offering to shake hands. It must have been Kinzo's way of expressing his gratitude. Will responded. Then, the two hands gripped each other tightly in silence. When they did, a bright light poured out from the gap between the two hands. Will felt as though something the size of a grain had burned itself into his palm. It was the power that Bencastle had given him. The light grew brighter and brighter. However, it seemed that Kinzo and the others couldn't see it.
Now I will speak. I met Beatrice Castiglione just before the end of the war. She came from across the sea.
Oh my god, here we go!
What the fuck are we doing?
Beatrice
Are we doing
Castiglione!
this?
Oh no!
Who the fuck is? What's going on?
I'm so ready.
I think I know exactly what's going on. Wartime stories.
Oh my god. Oh, here he is, boys.
Is that fucking Kinzo?
Yeah, it is. New sprite! No! Oh my god.
Don't worry, we'll
You
get
missed
it again. We'll get
It's
it
fine.
again.
We'll get him next time.
You, Kinzo.
It's how grandfather looked in the past. I've seen photos. Just what on earth?
It's the theater-going power that Berncastle gave me. Don't try to understand.
I'll just get a headache.
You're getting the hang of this. Alright, let's check it. Let's check
New
it.
sprite time.
Oof.
Oh, what a sexy man. Look at that angular chin.
Is that just Battler's sprite?
What? No.
That's just Battler's sprite.
Different outfit.
With white hair and a different outfit. But like that face.
The resemblance is uncanny, my
and
friend.
those shoulder blades.
Those sexy shoulder blades. At one time,
In fact, even in the old images, it's just Battler. I just
I know,
realized.
it totally is. At one time, Genji told Battler that he looked like Kinzo in his youth. Sure enough, though the young Kinzo wasn't exactly the same as Battler, they looked very similar.
Allow me to introduce myself again. I am Shiromia Kinzo.
Grandfather! Even the voice seemed to resemble Battler's somehow.
I refuse.
Oh, do you want to go with a little mix of both? Do you think you can do that? Is that possible?
Hold on, let me...
Because yeah, this is a younger Kinzo who sounds kind of like Battler.
Oof. I'll try.
The parallels are real. Clearly, Battler had inherited Kinzo's blood more thickly than any other.
I had no desire to succeed the Shiromia family hatch. My being chosen as the head was nothing more than a prank of fate. In the Great Kanto earthquake, those in charge passed away and you were selected from the branch families.
Good luck with these accents. That's correct. After all, Grandfather was wise despite his youth, and he already possessed a dignity fitting for the headship.
Ridiculous. Those greedy elders kept looking out for their own personal interests and couldn't decide on a new head at all. It's foolishness arguing about who the new captain should be on a sinking ship. So since you had no connections with anyone in the main family, you're selected right out of the blue. It's all because of my toes. If only I had one less toe in each foot, my life may have turned out differently.
In the Ushirime family, polydactyly was seen as a mark of good fortune. After all, many of the great ones in their family history had possessed it.
It was all very pathetic. The elders didn't care whom they dragged in as long as it wouldn't benefit any one of them particularly. So they just happened to hear that someone in one of the branch families had 6 toes and decided that it'd do well enough. Precisely. The elders didn't care what sort of novice became the next head as long as they could make them their puppet. In fact, the more this person was ignorant of leadership, the better it would be for them.
Grandfather.
Leon, it's quite difficult in your case.
Different.
Different. Ah. You'll be the one who inherits everything I have. That is the fate you were granted on the day of your birth. That is why I gave you that silver ring and raised you so strictly. You're quite different from me. You're already a splendid successor of whom no one could be ashamed.
Yes, sir.
Puppet for a head. Thought that could have been easy.
As he pondered about where to begin, Kinzo laughed bitterly. It would probably bring back painful memories no matter where he started from. I hope you're ready.
It lasted for so long, that span of gray days. A dizzying stretch of time I spent dead, like moss growing on a rock.
Oh my god.
Became the rope in the tug of war between the elders, who thought nothing but their own profit. And I probably could have snapped it at any moment. However, people are far more resilient than one would think. Well, I spent so many days, though I had been killed, I was not killed. So I was forced to search for death on my own. So he joined the war effort!
I confirm or denying.
Before I realized it, I had reached an age at which the young would laugh at me if I tried to call myself young. That dizzyingly long stretch of gray was completely empty. Lasted for a full 20 years. 20 years a person can be born, find a purpose, and even become their own man, their own place in the world. In short, if one truly becomes a human only when they have become a working adult. And I spent a period of time long enough to create a human, doing nothing but playing the part of those greedy elders' puppet. Ironically, though that time aged my body, it did not age my mind. My mind alone was still as young as it had been during those rich, happy days before I was summoned to Odawara. Yet my body alone grew older and older. Eventually, the vast gap between the two reached almost incomprehensible levels. So I could hardly believe that the worn-out man in the mirror was really me. No, it really wasn't me. Head of the Ashiramiya family was just a name. I had no power. It didn't require that I had any independence. There was no need for me to get involved with anything. It was just a doll sitting there on the doll rack gathering dust. I remember nothing but lazily flipping through Western books I liked, locking myself up inside my own world, doing nothing but playing with roses and drinking terrible drinks. And it lasted a full 20 years. Before I knew it, I suddenly had a wife I did not know. It wasn't any wife I had chosen. It was the daughter of some noble family that the elders chose and forced on me their own reasons. But that didn't matter to me. I did not love my wife, but neither did I dislike her. I just didn't care. I fathered a few children, but that wasn't out of love for my wife. They were just born born before I knew it. That's all there was to it. None of it mattered. And that's not quite right. Everything was decided by someone other than me, and I simply obeyed. That was the job of the Ashiramiya family head. Yeah, on some level I did feel as though I was being slowly and quietly killed.
I can't believe it. To think that you, the one who has been praised for being such a bold and wise ruler, lived life like that for so long.
Leon, there's nothing so long and faint as a life you did not live for yourself, and yet it slides by in the blink of an eye. Do not forget this.
A life you live for yourself.
Living means having your own will. You probably were dead during that time. Precisely. I wanted to live. No, I wanted to die. How can a puppet die?
By cutting the strings.
Correct. That would be death, and it would also be life, since it would mean being free. Before I realized it, trouble was brewing in the world. War effort time!
Here we go.
World War II, the Pacific War. Japan had extended their war fronts too far to the east and west, and the tide of war was changing. Thanks to the influence of the elders, I was able to avoid conscription. Of course, this was not out of compassion for me. It was because I was their precious puppet. So the war never really felt that close to me. However, when I personally decided to abandon their protection, it was very easy. That time, the Ishimia family had almost completely collapsed. And since the elders had apparently gathered enough of the scraps to last them the rest of their lives, they seemed to care little for what I did now that they no longer had any use for me. So I realized that I had finally found my time to die. One by one, I cut the threads I was hanging from, and began to search for a place to end my life. So you searched for death on the battlefield? I thought that if I was gonna die anyway, I should try to be of some use to my country. No, that's a lie. I probably just lacked the willpower to end my own life. Or was a suitable excuse for death.
I heard that grandfather had knowledge necessary for public works projects and construction, so he was tasked with setting up facilities for the Navy construction team.
And what a foolish mistake that was. If only I'd just said I had no useful skills, I could have been sent to the dangerous front lines right away. So you didn't need to go to the front lines. Some of the others were overjoyed at their luck. It was the opposite for me. I only wanted to get drunk on the liquor known as dying for the sake of one's country. The US planes did nothing but cut across the skies of that forgotten island. They didn't have a bullet to spare for me, much less a bomb.
Is this the time you met Beatrice, grandfather?
Correct. She came to me from the sea. Where'd you meet her? You mentioned an island. Yeah, this island. That's where she arrived.
Here we go, lads.
So, I'm not gonna say it. I've said it 1,000 times, and all we're doing is proving me right at this point. So you met here on Rekenjima.
What's going on? I heard that Rekenjima was uninhabited until you bought it, grandfather. I never knew there was a Japanese military base here.
But we did.
I know. I'm just gonna pause this screen for a second. Underline that.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could hardly call that a military base. It was just a cave. I was one of the guards of that cave. 1944.
Fuck.
Can you take this? Because
Yeah,
my voice is
I'll take it
hurting,
for you.
even if it's Kinzo, my voice
Yeah,
is
that's
done.
cool. That's cool, my dude.
Doing a new growly voice
That's right.
is trying to relearn a technique.
There'll be plenty of time for you to voice Kinzo, I'm sure, in his own flashback. Due to the honorable defeats at Saipan and Guam, Japan's absolute national defense zone strategy was in shambles. Where had the gallantry shown at Pearl Harbor gone? The old attackers were now the ones on the defensive. At that time, it was said that the last trump card for the Japanese military base was a type of manned torpedo known as the Kaiten.
Oh yeah, I know about these.
Yeah. It was said that these ultimate weapons, packed with 1.55 tons of explosives, were capable of sinking any kind of warship with a single blast.
Or a large island.
I don't know, maybe. To strengthen homeland defense, the Navy drafted a plan to build a string of hidden bases from Hachijo Island to Yokosuka, all to house submarines loaded with Kaiten torpedoes.
I will say, Hachijo Island, I feel like, is probably a reference that to someone who was Japanese would have been significant about
probably.
Hachijo in the last episode.
Hachijo, that's like that island that's in that area.
Yeah, but I know nothing about that.
Same.
We should probably look it up at some point.
At some point. I knew that there was a Kaiten base constructed on Hachijo Island.
I'd also laugh if there was no Hachijo Island.
It's just made up?
Yeah.
That'd be great. But was there actually one on Rekenjima too?
What fool decided it'd be a great idea to plant a base on this desolate island? Better preserve its secrecy. Ridiculous. I could never understand what the higher-ups were thinking, and I didn't particularly want to.
The Kaiten, which could finish off a large warship with a single strike, truly was an ultimate weapon. It was hoped that the presence of submarines capable of loading these weapons in the waters just off of Japan would allow for a powerful sea ambush as a final line of defense. So to aid in the establishment of a base with absolute secrecy, the uninhabited island Rekenjima was raised as a possible candidate. An investigation of the island resulted in the discovery of a large cave in the cliffs, and this was apparently deemed to be a suitable location for a submarine base.
Yeah, nailed it, boys!
Here we go.
Nailed it, submarine base. We're golden. So you were tasked with aiding in the establishment of that base. Establishment? Certainly, if you can call digging out a cave establishment. Not only that, the base was abandoned before its completion.
Why?
Because at that time, Japan no longer had any submarines large enough to transport a Kaiten torpedo.
Rip.
How truly laughable. What's the point in having a submarine base if there aren't any submarines left? If there's one thing that never changes, it's politicians and their meaningless projects. It's a good thing that they kept all those Kaiten torpedoes around below the island.
What? No. I'm sure they sent them back to Japan.
It's interesting trying to
Disposed
debate
of them.
between... Shout out to Seraphitic. There's a bit of a debate going on between whether the torpedoes... Well, whether I guess it was the torpedoes that blew up the island or whether it was the culprit getting fucking ammonium nitrate from the garden.
I hope it's the latter, honestly.
I think it's probably both, but like the amount of ammonium nitrate that it would take from fucking fertilizer would be absurd.
to explode an entire island?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. The base on Hachicho Island was outfitted with chitin torpedoes and became a base for direct attacks, but Rakenja was never supplied with any. Oh, well, there you go. Furthermore, the construction was eventually suspended, and a minimum number of men were stationed on the island, waiting for orders from above that never came. But the fact that there was a hidden base actually sealed our fate. The higher-ups had already completely forgotten about this useless and pointless cavern. We were nothing more than guards for a mere cave. We spent our days farming, fishing, and playing with the dirt, all the while gazing up at the American formations flying past. Some of our group were relieved at the prospects of the war ending before anyone remembered we were here, and before any of us had to face a real battle.
I will say, the fact that I was supplied with any torpedoes means they had nothing to load the explosives into, not that they weren't supplied with explosives.
Fair enough. Of course, it was the opposite for me. I hoped and hoped for the American troops to advance and kill me as soon as possible. Those days were empty and blank. Let us go back to the turning point in my life and my fate. The time that Ashumia Kinzo finally became truly alive.
Oh shit. Here it comes.
Oh god.
Oh my goodness, these are really
Chapter
short.
end. I know. We're just smashing through them. God.
Yeah, that's really fun. We've got confirmation of the Rakenjima explosion incident, and now
And the
it's like
military base.
explosives!
There's a military base that was supposed to be supplied with a lot of explosives before the explosive incident. See you next time.
Next time.